Hey basketball coaches and basketball fans, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to give you some of the basketball drills that Nick Nurse used during the NBA All-Star Game practice. So these are some great drills that you can run. Some of them are pretty basic, but they are absolutely amazing, and you can use these with your team as well, especially if you run the 5-out offense like Nick Nurse did in the All-Star Game. Now, really quickly, I was unable to get any drills from the LeBron James side of the practice, mainly because they didn't really do that much anyways at all. So, anyways, let's check these out. Okay, so in this first drill, very basic, it's a 5-man weave. Now, if you've never heard of the 5-man weave before, it's very simple. Basically what happens is player 1 will pass to player 2, player 2 is going to pass to player 3, player 3 is going to pass to player 5, and player 5 is going to pass to player 4. And it's going to be all in sequence, and they're going to be following their passes. So it's going to look like this. We're going to be having player 1 passing to player 2 then passing over to player 3, player 1 following his pass, and player 2 following his pass. Player 3 is then going to be passing over to player 5, and then at this point in time, we're going to be having player 5 pass to player 4, and player 4 is going to go in for a layup, and that would be done throughout the entire court. It's probably not going to happen before half like I showed you here, but again, I only have a couple of fingers that are working on this iPad. But anyways, once they go in for that score, we're going to have one of the players get that rebound, and now what they had was these 5 players came down on offense, and then they're going to be running some kind of a play. So one of their plays that they ran, and I will be breaking down their 5-out plays that they showed in the next video tomorrow, but we could have player 2 and 5 screening down. These 2 players could be using those screens. Player 1 could be then doing a dribble handoff with player 3, and at this point player 3 would be then having player 1 roll off of that screen, passing to player 1 for that layup. That was one of the plays that they used, but you could use whatever play that you would like. And so that you can actually use this with your own team as well. So you can have your team do the 5-man weave down, score, and then come back and do one of 2 things. You can run whatever offense that your team is running, but also what you could do is run 3-on-2 on the way back and say, hey, the last 2 players who touched the ball, the person who scored and the person who got the assist, are running back on defense, and then the other 3 players are running offense on the way down like a fast break, which is a fantastic way of running it. That's how I've ran it a few times in my own practice as well. So you could use that to your advantage, and it does help your players figure out who they're passing to and how to run a fast break. But also, this is a great warm-up. Of course, I'm not a huge fan of the 3-man weave, not a gigantic fan of a 5-man weave, but it does get players thinking, and it also is really good to warm up. Instead of doing laps, instead of doing suicides, you can run a 3-man or a 5-man weave, run into your offense, and it will get them really accustomed to running and get their legs and their bodies warmed up. So this next drill I'm about to show you is actually them running a sideline inbounds play, and you can run this sideline inbounds play with your team as well. It does work pretty well against a man-to-man defense or a zone defense, but they run a sideline inbounds, they go in for the score, they get that rebound, and then they go down to the other end of the court and run their 5-out offense. So really quickly, let's get down to the clipboard. I'll show you this play, I'll show you this drill, and how you can incorporate it with your team as well. So first we're going to have player 3 setting a screen for player 4, and player 4 is going to be cutting towards the rim. Of course, that could be one option for a layup, but we're going to be having player 3 pop out. And at that point, player 1 is going to inbound the ball to player 3. At this time, what we're going to be having is player 5 going up towards the free throw line extended, and player 4 popping out, and player 3 setting a screen down for player 2. Player 2 is then going to be coming off of that screen, and they're going to do a dribble handoff with player 3. After that dribble handoff, player 2 will have a few different options. Player 3 is going to be rolling towards the basket. Player 5 is going to be popping up, so player 2 could have the shot. He could also pass to player 3 for the layup, or he could pass over to player 5 for the 3-point shot, which is what they do in this next clip. Now, basically, how you can incorporate this drill is not necessarily a regular drill. It's essentially just running plays. But if you are practicing your plays, maybe near the end of a practice, which is essentially what the NBA All-Star Team Giannis was doing, basically, you could be doing very similar, where you could run a sideline inbounds play, have them score, get the rebound, and come down and set up the offense using that full court like they would in a game. And if you had enough assistant coaches, you could even have a couple of assistant coaches playing dummy defense so that they could be running the play against some kind of a dummy defense. And in that case, you'd be able to practice your plays, and you're getting 2 to 3 plays done by the time that they're off the court. Get your next 5 players on, run those 2 to 3 plays, get them off, next group on, and you can keep on going. This is actually a fantastic strategy that you could use, again, near the end of your practices. Now, this next drill, I guess you could call this a play. It's not really a play, but it is more or less a drill. So, they're running a very basic play that incorporates a shot, but also incorporates how to inbound a ball into the post. And then, on top of it, after they score, they go down to the other end, and again, they run their offense. Again, this is all simulating what happens in a game, where you're coming off of a sideline like before, or you're coming off of a baseline on the other end of the court and running your offense. So let's get down to the clipboard. Let's check out this drill really quickly. So what we have here is player 2 inbounding the ball. Player 4 is going to be the player who is going to be inbounded to, and then we have these 3 players on this side. So once player 2 passes to player 4, player 2 is going to run inbounds towards the point, and these 3 players are going to be skipping in a circle. Once the coach says shoot, one of these players is going to be popping out. Player 4 is going to be passing player that won the ball, and he's going to be shooting the ball. Now, once that ball goes up, these 2 players are boxing each other out, and one of them is going to get that rebound, and now they're going to be coming down into their 5-out offense. Again, running the 5-out. Nick Nurse is a huge fan of the 5-out, but also the 5-out is some of the simpler plays that you could run in basketball, and especially if you're running it against it or with a team like an all-star team like this where you only have 1 or 2 practices, it's very beneficial just to run simple plays. So I hope that this video has helped you just a little bit. I hope that you have enjoyed the video parts that I incorporated from the practice itself. And I'll see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.